Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome. Hi. Welcome to Explorers of Elsewhere, live stream, Tales of Elsewhere, Words. I'm DM Dan. Pleased to meet you. And I'm joined by 4 mystery sleuths. 4 of the greatest crime-solving masterminds, not criminals, just crime-solving, maybe criminal, masterminds this side of the portal. Hi. How are the 4 of you all doing?
Ready to solve a murder.
A murder?
Murder.
Yes. This is you know, we've already kickstarted the second tale, and wouldn't you know it, there was a mansion and there was a murder, and it is a mystery. It is a mansion mystery murder. No, a mansion murder mystery. It's might be a mystery mansion murder. To be fair, you don't know.
It is a magical mystery mansion.
It is. It is. All of the M's. Yes. Hello Fio, hello Georgia, hello Livvy, hello PC Dan, hello world. Just to double check if all of us are coming through. We've got our ever loyal sound engineer Nate in the chat. Yeah, while we wait for that, you had good weeks. You all been doing good.
Yeah.
Wet.
I'm good.
Yeah,
It's wet.
it is quite.
It's certainly raining.
How British of us to be complaining about the weather live on the internet.
We're on
I
brand.
I work outdoors, so it's a big effect for me.
No, that's
Not
fair.
fun.
That is fair. That is fair. I should just point out that the 4 of you and everyone that watches this is blessed, because right now I should be eyeballs deep in the new Legend of Zelda game, and yet I'm not. I'm here for your viewing pleasures.
Thank you, Dan.
That's right. You are more than well.
Thank
Don't
you
worry.
so much.
How big? How
Thank you
noble?
for your commitment.
Thank you. It was a hard decision to make, a harder pill to swallow, but here we are. So yes, enough waffling. We have stumbled across a mansion with a mystery involving a murder that is magical. Who would like to A, watch the title video, and B, get back into it?
Yes, please.
Woo.
Yes.
Let's go. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livvy. I'm going to be playing Ray, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Fio, and I'm playing Cal, the Sangvar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormborn, a Dragon Scent Bard.
And my name is DM Dan. I'll be the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. So, we return the 4 of you to a dining hall in the mansion of an archmage that, it would seem, is no longer part of the living. After a recent commotion from the very elderly goblin butler, Bendel, he has discovered the body of the archmage, Ulick, who's seemingly throwing a gala party of sorts in celebration of his apprentice, Agathar, the famous Wolfkin mage, currently at one end of the table. the four of you plus Vinny, the dire chihuahua, sit or stand opposite from the majority of the other guests. The one difference being the looming figure of the Justicar, the Keeper Justicar Valana, who is currently sort of like holding up Bendel, who's for all intents and purposes collapsed to the floor in the doorway of the dining hall. And as over the sounds of Bendel's kind of squealing, squeals of grief, the keeper, the desert keeper, who's kneeling down to look, hold the goblin, bellows, "Tell me exactly what happened." And the goblin responds, I went to fetch him in his quarters, and when I entered, I found him lying in a pool of his own blood in the middle of the room." And as he says that, the Keeper Paladin turns her head to look at the four of you, and the expression on her face quite clearly says one thing: that she does not believe this to be an accident. Master Ulick is normally so extremely careful. The only the main door in... There's only the one entrance to his room. And he says, sort of like pointing a finger over his shoulder. And like Valana slowly stands the goblin up. And the four of you note that she's saying this kind of loud enough that like she's making a statement more than a question when she says, "How many ways are there in and out of this mansion?" Just the one. Only the main door in the foyer leads in and out of this extra dimensional space, the goblin says. Who's got the highest knowledge? Did we ascertain it was Alfric?
I think it's Alfric.
Alfric, okay. So Alfric,
Be one thing.
yeah, no worries. So Alfric, as Bendel says this, it dawns on you again that yes, the inside of this mansion is significantly larger than the outside of the outside tower would have you like believe. So theoretically, you've teleported in somehow. You've certainly translocated. But as the Justicas, so the paladins, kind of focusing down on the goblin. "Has anyone else departed this evening?" she says to the goblin, and then she looks to the four of you with you and all of the guests. Has anyone left?
Not that I saw.
If this was a murder, then I suspect that the killer is still in the building amongst us. And there are a number of gasps and pearl clutches from the gathered guests. The paladin stands, sort of like helps the goblin up, and I'm considering this a murder investigation. And while the investigation is ongoing, I will seal the magics of the front door, trapping us all in here. No one may leave without my express permission. We will need to work together in the meantime to find out who has committed this heinous crime. And sort of like looking across the gathered, like you all gathered around the table with this stern look, the paladin like turns to leave the room, and as she kind of steps into the doorway, she stops for a moment, as if as if a thought has just struck her, and then she turns back and, Agatha, she says to the Wolfkin mage at the end of the room, this mansion, the magics that sustain it, will they end at some point? And Agatha, well, yes. The Archmage always stepped outside to reconjure the mansion spell that keeps this locked in place. Without him doing so, the spell will end. And what will happen when that spell ends, Agatha? We'll be dropped harmlessly outside the tower. There's a moment of pause from the paladin before she says, and presumably if the spell ends, the mansion and everything in it disappears as well, is erased from his existence. There's a grumble from the Wolfkin. Yes. It will be gone for good. We only have a few hours then, the paladin says. We will need to act quickly to find the evidence we need before it disappears forever. Form up into groups, all of you, and see what you can discover about the house. I will begin working on a few divinations in the parlour that may be of aid to any of you. Please come and find me if you have any questions, but be careful. And her eyes go to each of you in turn very pointedly. There is a killer amongst us. So.
You look shifty.
Well, tell you what. Yeah. If you want to, Vanier, roll me an instinct roll. A sense check.
Okie dokie. Details, just double checking. I am going to, because I've got loads of hope, use one of my experiences, heightened senses, to try and see if I can hear different heartbeats between everyone, or like, you know, hear certain mumblings, or see any like twitching of people's like disposition, body language, things like that. So I'm just using all my senses to look at each and every person in this room to just gauge their reactions. So I will take away one hope.
Okay,
and
down to
I'm
4.
going to make, so this will be a roll with +4.
Okay.
Let me just do the roll. 15 with fear.
15 with fear. So you're able to tune in, and like as you squint slightly as you regard, well, as you look around you, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 potential suspects. You can be pretty confident that it's not Rayri or Cal. But everyone else, so the Paladin Valana, Mayor Montgomery, Bendel the Butler, Agatha the Mage, Stradivon the Awakened Statue, Lady Gwendolyn, and the Chef Sharir, they are all like they like you haven't like there's nothing to have struck them off the suspicion list. So it's those 7. Sorry, and the 7th is the dragon scent in your number.
His heart is definitely beating.
Yeah.
Very loudly.
Yes. So as you scrutinize these people on a 15 with fear, 15 with fear, was it?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, 15 with fear. So you notice that everyone seems like elevated. Lady Gwendolyn recently fainted, and she's being sort of like tended to by the little Terran sprite Maya. Well, Stradivon is quite clearly like readingless, given that he's just a hulking statue. But yeah, everyone looks a bit like on edge, looks a bit shifty, and you get this horrible creeping feeling that perhaps it could be anyone that you suspect it to be. Because if they're trying, the people that you're looking at are either guilty and trying to hide it, or innocent and trying not to look guilty. So, with that in mind, with the dire warning from the paladin that the mansion will disappear at midnight, you glance at there's a you check the time, Vanier, and realise that it is 6 o'clock. Well, sorry, since you arrived at 6 for the evening, but in the meantime, off the back of your fear, it is now 7 o'clock. There are 5 hours remaining until midnight. So, yes, as the Keeper Paladin moves out and begins kind of casting her abjuration wards on the door to stop it from being used, you see that the number of the guests in the room start kind of... yes, that's the noise that Bendel makes. A number of the NPCs start breaking up into groups. You notice that Agatha and Mayor Montgomery have sort of like headed over to Bendel the butler, as they sort of like tend to him for a moment. Stradivon stands from his seat and, "Please, my lady, retire with me to the parlour." And she nods, and the two of them kind of group up. The chef says, like, realising that dinner is most likely ruined, the mood, it is not the mood for a 3-course anymore. So the chef declares that she is heading to stay with the Justicar, to the Paladin, to make sure that everything's fine. But Agatha turns to the 4 of you as well and says, "The 3 of us, we're going to try and find a motive for whoever might have done this. We have a suspicion that the evidence will be in this mansion, and we will find it." And the 3 of them sort of like nod, and they go kind of marching out into the mansion. Yeah, Stradivon and Lady Gwendolyn heads to the parlour. So the 4 of you are left be.
I immediately, knowing between the companions I do know of, me and Rary are good at tracking. Owl's usually better with people, but in terms of investigative work, I think even Vanier's a little bit where we might be lacking, so he quickly turns around to Alfred and he's like, "Ah, Alfred, this is good time for you to show us your skills and potentially become an explorer."
It is?
Yes, this is
yeah.
your time to shine. Now then, what would be the first thing we should do in this scenario, eh?
I would, personally, look at the body.
Correct answer. And he just starts marching.
Oh, right now? I've never actually seen
no
her.
time to wait.
Okay.
I see what you're getting at. If you need to barf, just go to the corner of the room. You'll be fine. You're with us. And gives you a sort of like hearty pat on the back. If you spew up what you've eaten, I've got more food in the back, so I've got you covered stomach-wise.
That's very thoughtful of you.
Come on now, no time to waste, everyone. And yeah, I start making my way
downtown. That's a copyright strike right there. So, as by all means, start moving your tokens around. So, as you enter back into the white marble floored foyer, you see the Keeper Paladin kind of casting her spells across the front door, just as she said she was. And you see the chef is kind of stood beside her, looking kind of like she looks at you all. There's a look of fear in her eyes as this group of sort of like strangers starts milling about the mansion. But yeah, you also see Agatha, Bendel, and Mayor Montgomery, and they're sort of like conversing. But as the four of you kind of move through the room, like around the bubbling fountain in the center of the room, you see the three of them. Well, you see Mayor Montgomery and Agatha like look in your direction with like relatively unsubtle, suspicious looks. As you go past, and Vanya, as you go to approach the stairs up to the bedroom, like the Archmage's bedroom, Agatha calls out, "Be careful! That place will be likely filled with defensive traps of a powerful and arcane nature. It might not be particularly safe for the uninitiated like you to go in there."
Well, do you know how to disarm them?
I had a very good relationship with the Archmage, but there were some secrets that he would not share even with me. And as he says that, the goblin butler next to him then says, "Also, the door is locked."
Right. Well, how did you see the body then?
"Well, I unlocked it." And the goblin kind of looks a bit kind of awkward and doesn't look super comfortable. "If you think it would be prudent to go inside, then we could have a look."
I think that would be wise, don't you think?
Bendel sort of like nods his head somewhat kind of forlornly and then very slowly shuffles over across the room. You notice that his shined shoes slip slightly on the polished marble floor, which makes him go even slower. But whenever he needs to change direction, there's a little bit of inertia, like in a Super Mario Brothers ice level. but he eventually manages to kind of catch up with you, and he reaches down really, like, with a shaky hand and with a jangly set of keys that he produces, like, no, this one. And then he, oh no, you don't, and unlocks the door. I haven't the heart to go in there again, so I will take my leave. But take Agatha's warnings seriously. There may be some powerful protective wards in there.
You went in, so can't you get rid of them?
Agatha says, like, pipes up as you ask the butler this. The problem we may face is that if Archmage Ulick is dead, then there may be wards that have activated on as a response, so that anyone pillaging his secrets after his demise will be stopped. Think of them as dead men's runes, if you will.
Right, no pillaging. Got it.
As you kind of say that, the keeper at the door, the paladin, she turns, and the door is now sealed. We have until midnight to conduct our investigations. But for me to be able to make this stick, please bear in mind, finding the murderer will not suffice. We will also need to find the murder weapon and discover the motive behind the murder. And, like, she nods, and if you excuse me, I will return to the parlour and begin arranging the rituals to conclude our investigation, should the need arise. And as she moves to the parlour, the chef kind of scurries after her. Yeah, you are now free. The door to the main bedroom is unlocked.
Rick puts his hand up. Bearing in mind possible deadly runes and a dead body, would you mind perhaps if I think from his backpack he takes his violin, and if I may, I'm not sure if you cast it but can I rally the group?
Ooh. Let's have a little look. See, because that's your, like, class ability, right?
Yes, it's my class feature.
Once per session, as your party prepares to enter a difficult or dangerous situation, describe how you rally them and give yourself and your allies a d6 rally die. So, yes, what does this look and or sound like?
He nervously, like, ding his violin. Well, I don't know about you, but murder aside, this has been quite a thrilling evening. And I know you didn't do it, so I fully trust that whatever we find in there, you will be able to overcome it.
Well, it's good to know that we, us four, have all been watching each other, therefore, and we know none of us have done it.
Exactly. I trust you all.
So,
Well, couldn't nobody went in there? Couldn't it have happened before we all were here?
So,
Just saying.
So yeah, to be fair, you would have all arrived after the rest of the guests, and Alfric arrived after you three. So, in actual fact, maybe Alfric is potentially off the hook, unless he did it, left, and then came back.
Scale the walls with the little dragon cubes.
Now, does anyone have particular skills with traps?
I've never seen a trap before.
I'm all right. I got some, tinkery things.
Would
Give it a
you
go.
rather take point, or do you feel otherwise, Cal?
I can go first. That's fine.
Well,
If I take damage, then, or if I get hit, I can take it. It's fine.
and I'll punch them back.
Sounds like a plan.
I think you could punch a trap, but okay.
You could try. I
For
recommend the
everything.
attempt.
I believe in you.
I go beyond Cal.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna go in first. If it's gonna let me go in first.
So
I
yeah,
cannot.
you should be able to click the door and it should let you in.
Oh, there we go.
So,
There
Don't
he
go
is.
too far in. Just in case.
an eccentric collection of gaudy decorations adorn the walls and floors of this bedroom suite. Colourful rugs depict strange monsters, while flags and banners drape across the walls. On a nearby table, amid a stack of books, is a marble bust of the Archmage, atop which his purple pointed hat sits. Unlike most of the house that is illuminated with candlelight, this room is illuminated with 1,000 tiny points of light, like stars, set into the ceiling. There is a large 4-post bed with deep purple fabric forming a canopy above the mattress. The bloody corpse of the Archmage Ulick lies on the rug in the centre of the room.
I immediately look at Alfric. Are you okay?
Elfric's gone sort of quite pale around the scales. He kind of holds himself up in the doorway. Yeah,
First time can be a bit way. But
I'm good.
after it, you'll be good. I look at the other two and it's like, I can certainly have a look at the body, but unless anyone else wishes to have a little look first.
I mean, look away.
DM,
Hmm.
without I'll say to Rayri in character, I go, there is around. Can you see anything around the body that might resemble a trap?
What
I guess
would be the best role for?
It'd be instinct, I'd assume, for perception. Whereas
so. For reference,
or investigating.
Picture fundamentally when it comes to the investigation, play this like a Monkey Island style point and click. So based off like details or whatnot that I might have said and read aloud text, like tell me what you want to investigate, and then either I'll just tell you or we'll get a roll or so on and so forth.
I plan to investigate the body, but I don't want to like get close to the body and then suddenly, boom.
I mean, the good thing about being hit with a disintegration spell at such a low level is that it would be instantaneous.
Yeah.
Would
So,
hurt.
you know,
Yeah.
positive.
seeing what we've just been told, I'm just being careful.
Yeah, who wants to do some investigations?
I mean, we can all just investigate different bits. My investigation is no better than, like, my finesse is good. So if there's physical traps, I can disarm them. But magical traps.
Maybe if I can see from a glance, if I, without actually standing above the body, but getting close to the body, whether I can tell how he died, especially with my, I mean, I've cut, like, not necessarily humans per se, but I have the expertise monstrous culinarian, and I have carved up many bodies. Monstrous usually, but so I have some level of instinctual know-how when it comes to navigating a body.
It's the same as forensics, really.
Yes.
Blood spatter analysis.
The Venn diagrams of, like, people that prepare tuna and forensic science are basically overlapping.
Yeah.
I don't know why they go and get a degree.
If you're fundamentally trying to pass what's happened to this chap,
looking over his body.
Yeah, I would argue. I mean, that's, well, arguably you're analysing and comprehending, which is knowledge.
Yep, that's fine.
If you want to spend the hope, is that one of your, like, experiences?
Yeah.
Cool.
A monstrous culinarian. I'm gonna.
So, all of your experience of chopping up griffins gives you a perfect understanding of the lore of our anatomy. Okay.
So, I've got a -1 on knowledge, and then +2 brings it to +1.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. Oh yeah. -1, 0, 1. Yeah. So I got a +1 to this roll. And let's go. Oh, come on, with fear. Hold on. That's 8 + 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus another 1. 14 with fear.
Okay. You take a step closer to investigate the body. And the Archmage is, like, lying face down in a massive, like, pool of blood which is staining the rug and the purple carpet. And, like, it's mixing to an almost black hue. Around him, you notice a broken wand, which you recognise as one of his wands that he was... One of the 2 wands he was dual wielding in the portrait in the dining hall. There's a pile of sealed letters. There's a letter opener, and they're all covered in blood on the ground around him. As you sort of, like, turn him over, his robes, just in general, are just soaked through with blood. And it's like, in this moment, unless you really start sort of like roughhousing him, it's difficult to gauge where, like, because everything's sticky, right, because of the blood, so it's difficult to see, like, what it is that killed him. But you assume that, given where the blood is on his body, it's probably some sort of stab wound somewhere in the torso.
And I relay this information as I'm like, lift up the body slightly, and then I'll relay that information to my fellow companions.
So maybe we'll just look at him.
So you're saying he fell on his own letter opener?
Maybe.
Is a letter opener sharp enough?
Anything sharp enough.
With the right attitude.
I suppose you have more world experience than I do.
Can you imagine the wizards? They're like with the letter opener. He sees this letter and he's got his knife and he's like, "To hell with this!"
Just do a belly flop, like all 4 limbs up in the air, just to...
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, the looking through it, like you would wager, like the letters that are scattered around him, like they are blood sodden enough that they're pretty much going to be
What?
unreadable.
Illegible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Illegible from like the blood damage. Yes, that well, arguably this is your first hypothesis that he chest dived onto his own letter opener.
Put that one down on the list.
Okay.
Himself. Right.
What's Cal or Rayri thinking? Like, what are you doing? Oh, sorry. Also, Dan rolled with fear, so.
Yeah.
Boop. 3 fear for me.
Rayri would like to have a little look and see if there's anything on his desk. Not touching the desk, just glancing and see if there's anything on the desk. Was he writing something? Or was he having some correspondence?
Sure. So, the desk itself is like it's pretty cluttered. As you look across the desk, I mean, which skill, which ability would you suggest you were using, just so I know what sort of info to give you?
I think I would be just perceiving. I just want to sort of get a glance of want to see what's on the desk. Sure. Rather than trying to.
So, okay, in which case, on the desk are, so yeah, as a stack of books. There's a pretty accurate depiction of his face as a marble bust with his very kind of typical pointed purple hat on top of it. And sort of like amongst all the books and the scrolls, the one thing that catches your attention is a small-ish lock-sized, a small-ish rosewood box. It's got a little, you can see, it's got a little keyhole on the front of it in a sort of like a gold plating. And engraved on the top of the rosewood box is a thornless rose.
Thornless rose. Interesting.
Quick question: Are we haven't seen the other wand that he dual wields with, right? We've only seen the one broken wand.
No, that's still in his chest.
Yeah.
No, there's only one broken wand.
Yeah, just making a point of that.
Can I have a closer look at the box? I think after Ray's been told about traps, what would be the best way to what would you want for me to look to see if it looks like it's been it has anything in it got a glyph on it.
Well, if you're talking, like, we can be relatively loosey-goosey with the abilities. So, like, if you're, like, you could argue for finesse under, like, tinker. You could argue for instinct for, like, perceive, or knowledge for analyze.
From Rory's point of view, she's would be looking at more of a tinkering kind of. She wants to see how it, if it's locked, if it has anything, like if it looks like it's a lockbox, or if it's got anything suspicious about it, or...
Okay. Yeah, roll me a tinker. So, a finesse, sorry. Roll me a finesse.
Yeah. Let's get... it was... Where's that one gone? There it is. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 with fear.
15 with fear. As you inspect the rosewood box, you quickly notice, like, you're able to quickly like identify that there doesn't seem to be any kind of physical traps around this. Or sort of like, as you kind of take a step back and you kind of glance around, off the back of a 15, you kind of acknowledge that there doesn't really seem to be anywhere around you where that might house physical traps. There's no, like, depressions, there's no soft spots in the carpet for spears to come up through the floor, or there's no holes in the walls for crossbow bolts to fire, right? Any of the typical traps you might expect. And so you intuit that perhaps because he's an archmage, the chances are that this room would have been protected by, like, arcane traps and wards, like, exclusively. So, if nothing else, the fact that the four of you, you can hear Vanya, like, tossing around this corpse behind you, like, so kind of roughhousing it. And it just strikes you that, like, if there were magical traps in here designed to deter, like, tomb robbers, if you will, one of the four of you should have set one off by now. Especially, you've got that, like, proper green round the gills dragon scent behind you as well. Yeah. He would have set something off.
Reed's in the wrong place.
But nothing. No one's exploded. No one's been electrocuted. No one's been disintegrated. You wonder if there are any traps in here. But as you think that, you're able to, like, kind of emboldened and, you know, perhaps a little bit absent-mindedly, the rosewood box just opens. Like, you open it up, it wasn't locked in the first place. But inside, you spy an engagement ring. Like a rather beautiful gold-banded ring studded with a large diamond in the centre, and then kind of flanked by a ruby, a sapphire, a topaz, and an emerald. Kind of connected with very thin, spiraling kind of gold, like filigree. Sat on top of an enveloped letter that is unsealed.
So Ray's just at lies, just glint, and she like looks around. She sees that Vanya is whatever Vanya's doing. She just grabs Cal's sleeve, and she just Cal. She doesn't really know Ulfric yet, so she's just stage whispering. There's a massive ring
in this box. I don't think he'll miss it, do you?
She just drags him over and shows it to him.
I'm just being dragged towards this box. Okay. In that case,
Ray's trying to be like,
yeah.
as if they're not really looking in the box because she doesn't want Alfric. She doesn't know Alfric, so she's just kind of like not, just.
He might want it for himself.
Exactly. It's just papers and stuff. Do you want to look at the papers? And she's there, just pointing at the ring. Oh, look at that paper. That's really interesting, isn't it, Cal? Look at that one.
Cal is like, he doesn't know what Rary's mindset is. All he knows is he's pointing at this ring. Is it, out of curiosity, is it a kind of ring that Cal may have seen? Does he recognize it's an engagement ring, or is it like a certain style?
Sure. I mean,
is there anything about this that might ring alarm bells so
it is definitely an engagement ring. Much is abundantly clear, and like you can't help but let out a slow little when you see the luster and the quality of like the gemstones. So like whoever this was intended for, like, I mean, how rich is an archmage? But clearly, like, this was a very, very extravagant and opulent kind of token.
A year's salary.
Years. It's not. So I would argue there's no real particular style that kind of suggests who it may be kind of for, or where it was kind of procured or whatnot. But you, like, looking in the rose box, you kind of note that like in this lockbox, in this little kind of lockbox, this rosewood box, the fact that it was sat on top of this kind of opened letter, you suspect the letter may have some more information for you.
As we're like both looking at it, Ray's just kind of fingers are just.
Cal just bats them. Cal's like, no. I'll do it. And I think Cal is going to put his hand in to take the letter very carefully. Because if I get hit by a trap, everyone else has probably got less hit points than me.
Sure.
So I'm going to take the front if there is some sort of trap on this.
Okay.
So yeah.
So as you kind of reach for this letter and you slowly flick open the envelope and pull out the handwritten letter in it, the first thing you notice is that nothing explodes. So you're able to relax for a moment. And then the letter is penned by hand, and it reads, "My dearest Gwendolyn." Many have been the hours where I have regretted my actions not too long ago. Please do not take my actions as any sort of indication on you as a person. You are as delicately divine and beautiful as the dragons themselves. but I fear that it was my own fear that has led to so much pain and anguish for the both of us. I beg to all who are holy that you will find it in your hearts to forgive me for my transgressions. And I hope more so that we might remain as two individuals who care for one another. You deserve better than me. And I hope you find the happiness you are long overdue. Yours forever, if you will have me. Algar Ulick.
So Al reads, so Cal reads the letter,
Sorry,
and then he...
like as you read the letter, you then turn it over and notice that on the back, in a different handwriting and a different ink, "This is yours. I no longer want it. G."
Yikes.
Trouble in paradise.
Cal's reading it, and Ray's just like trying to read it as he's reading it. Just like, she didn't want it then! She didn't want it then!
What did you find?
I think our boy here had girl trouble. Maybe she was the trouble.
Who?
Lady Gwendolyn downstairs.
As
It was a dragon, supposedly.
as you kind of report this to Vanier, Alfric, sorry, Cal, as you kind of say this to Vanier, Alfric, you're kind of looking around the room. You've just heard. Sorry, Cal, have you fundamentally read out the letter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've heard love in the air.
So you then note that amongst the various kind of banners and drapes on the walls, there is a portrait. Like one of the drapes is kind of partially obscuring it. And as you move the drape aside, it is a portrait, undeniably, of Lady Gwendolyn at a much younger age.
He was in love.
What's she dressed like? Is it erotic?
It is not. Unfortunately not. No. But her opulent state of nobility is firmly on show in this portrait. And it is a very kind of proper, like by the numbers sat with the chin up. And, yeah.
Very demure, very mindful.
Yes.
Interesting.
I make sure there's like no one just overhearing us in this room. As I'm about to suggest. Assuming that no one's just at the door trying to listen in on us. Yeah, I'll kind of come over and I'll say, yeah, everyone's like, huh?
They heard girl trouble and they ran.
Right. So it was obviously this Gwendolyn who killed this guy then, yeah?
He fainted
Hypothesis
when she heard that he died.
Well,
I mean, you can be Go on.
If I was given a ring like that, and then why would I give it back and then kill him? Like, you just keep the ring, wouldn't you? We just keep the ring? Can we keep the ring? Are we going to keep the ring? We should keep the ring. Oh yeah, she wasn't. She would have kept the ring. She wouldn't. She would good. She would keep the ring. Like we're gonna keep the ring because we're keeping the ring.
Surely we should give the ring back to her. I mean,
You already gave. It's a bloody.
but they were in love.
It's very stiff.
As Rayri is putting forward her theories and her protestations, and Alfric, as you there's an almost of a flutter in your pose as you say, like, "Oh, but they're in love." You hear a distant but distinct scream somewhere from behind you,
Another
Alfric.
one.
Hide the ring.
I guess we run.
Yeah, we go find out who's screaming.
I pick up the broken wand as well. I don't know if on our way out, because it's the only weapon that I see in this room right now.
Sure.
But
I'll
not the
just
letter opener, you know, because he could have just killed himself with that.
Did I find the letter opener?
Yeah, there's a letter opener.
I think
There's
it's on the
right next-
floor.
It was bloody on the floor.
Yes, there is a bloody letter opener on the floor.
I pick it up as well.
Yes, you hear a... Okay, so you've grabbed the broken wand and the bloody letter opener. Okay, so if
and
you...
the ring.
And the letter.
The ring in the box. Ravi's just hears the scream. She goes, and then just closes the box.
It's
and
got
then
the
puts it in pocket.
portrait.
Oh no!
Well, I'll let you lot decide who's got what. But Alfric, as you hear the scream and you turn around, there's a moment of confusion, and then the Justica, like the paladin Valana, kind of runs back out of the parlour, and you see her sort of like looking around in a bit of a panic. And she, seeing you come out of the bedroom, she looks to you and, "That was the chef! That was the chef!" And the paladin kind of stops for a moment, and then she said she was going to make some food and drinks in the kitchen. That way, she says, and the paladin frantically gestures in the direction of the dining room. And you would suspect the kitchens would be on the other side.
I suppose we're running in that direction.
Yeah.
Going.
Yeah.
So yeah, as you go past the Justica, she says to you, "I'll stay here to keep the guests in the parlour safe." But and you see her sort of like wrestling with it, and she, "Don't blast it," she says, and she starts to run with you.
Yeah.
Cal, as you burst into the kitchen, like the kitchen itself is a bit of a state, but you see that to your right, like on the right hand wall, is a door, an open door to like a parlour of some sort. And as you approach, you see that there is a trap door that is currently open.
Okay, gonna go down the trap door.
Okay. In which case, who else is going down to trapdoor?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, as you head down the trapdoor into a basement of sorts, it's a relatively small basement that holds several casks of ale and wine. But Cal, as you descend, the thing that kind of attracts your attention first is what appears to be two small kind of cage-like holding cells with iron bars, and one of them, like as you emerge, that's have I picked up Ravy? I haven't picked up Ravy. Oh, hang on, let's put you there. Oh, we've got two. Well, we've got two Ravies. No, there we go. Okay, so as the four of you descend, you see the Chef Sharir over in the far end of the basement, sort of like on a like on the ground, sort of like backing away into some barrels, because as you descend, you hear an inhuman and what appears to be a dead cadaver like swipes at you as it moves out of one of the holding cells and goes to grapple you, Cal, and the other three of you as you descend. But as the chef sort of like screams and kind of scrabbles backwards into a corner, as this undead thing kind of lurches towards you, and it swings at you with kind of long curved claws cut in lieu of fingernails, and this kind of shuffling gait, and as it looks to you, and in this moment the word that comes to your mind is wrong. So there's something wrong. Like you may or may not have seen. How many of you have seen undead creatures, do you feel, in your pasts?
I feel like Cal has. I feel like Cal has fought undead before.
So, I mean, yeah, some of you may... So, those of you who fought in the war proper, you may well have battled undead forces during the war, but this creature looks wrong by comparison. But as it surges towards you, and this long kind of snaking tongue hanging out of its mouth, we'll go for a quick break. So, we will be back in approximately 15 minutes. If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit the like button. Comment down below on your suspicions so far as to who it may be, and or if you agree with any of the theories that the explorers here have already come up with. And if you want to see more stuff like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because we're releasing loads of new content. We wouldn't want you to miss it. And also, if you subscribe, you can chat to us in the chat, like Beef and Nate are doing so. But yeah, see you all in 15 minutes. Take care. See you in a bit. Bye. Boom! Hello, world! Hi! Welcome back to Explorers of Elsewhere's Tales from Elsewhere. Hi. Hi, I'm DM Dan. I'm joined by Fio, Georgia, Livvy and Dan. Hello. And we're going to play some Daggerheart for your little eye holes. Because we're kind like that. We're really generous with our Daggerhearts. We are playing through a mystery mansion murder. Written by I think I might have been really bad and forgotten to attribute this to the author. But this is an adventure written by the illustrious Alagomar on Reddit. So if you happen to be watching this, Alagomar, you're a champ. You're a star. The investigation is afoot. The four of you have been let loose in this mansion. You have discovered that you only have 5 meagre hours before the mansion and the magic that sustains it disappears, unceremoniously jettisoning you onto the hill that this wizard's tower stands on. And along with the mansion will go all of the evidence to find out who did a murder. The first half was exciting enough that we have been blessed by Daisy. So she's joining us. Just gonna swing her around to get a few more views. But yes, you've started your investigations. You've heard a scream. Okay, bye Daisy. You've heard a scream from somewhere in the mansion, and you've tracked it down to the basement, where you found the chef desperately trying to get away from what appears to be a zombie-like creature of some sort. Who would like to watch the intro video and get back into it?
Yeah.
Let's go. All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livvy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Fio and I'm playing Cal, a Sangavar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormborn, a Dragon Scent Bard.
And my name is DM Dan. I'll be the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. Boom. And so, battle music. we find the four of you in a basement. This shambling undead-like creature has just lurched out of what appears to be an iron bar holding cell of some sort in one corner of this basement. It's already taken a swipe at you, Cal, with some unusually long talon-like claws. And as the other three of you kind of drop down through the trapdoor into this basement, on the other side in the other corner of the room, you can see the chef currently cowering and kind of scrunched up in the corner, seemingly having just discovered this fiend, this creature. But as it takes a swing at you, Cal stumbles a few steps and then rights itself as it whips this long snake-like tongue at you all. Who's going first?
I mean, it's attacking me, so I should probably go first.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Go, Cal, go.
Thematically, I am the one being attacked.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, did it actually try to hit me?
It did. I mean, I can roll for you if you like.
Yeah, only because I have a thing that I haven't had to try yet. So, if he wants to try and hit me, he is more than welcome.
Sure thing. It's going to roll a d20 plus 1 for a grand total of 9.
So my evasion is 9?
Beats it.
Beats it. Okay, so it does hit you.
Okay.
And it hits you for... some of... You know what? Have we ever discussed how much of a meanie DM Dan is?
We would never call you a meanie.
Would you never call me a meanie? Because what
are you doing?
What DM Dan's going to do is spend one of these fear that he's got. And he's going to spend fear. Let me just double check. I swear I can use it to do a bit more damage unless they've taken that away from me. Have they taken that away? It looks like they've taken it away from me. Never mind. I'm going to have my fear back. Right, I'm going to go back up to 3. It's going to do normal attack against you, Cal, for 2d6 plus 5. Boom. 14 damage.
Okay, so just so I know how this works. So that would count as... So my minor damage is 8, and my severe damage is 20.
Mm-hmm.
So I can... I'm going to look at what I understand I can do. I think if I can take an armor slot, I can reduce. That's how it works, right?
Yeah. So spend an armor slot. What's the number on your armor score? What's your armor score?
7.
So you can reduce that damage by 7 with an armor slot.
Cool. Okay.
To bring it down to 7, which I'm assuming is now within your minor.
Yes, and then I can mark
threshold.
1 HP. Okay.
And you could even spend another armor slot to reduce it to 0 and take no damage. If you
That's true. However, I wanted to see what this does. So, as part of the Vengeance subclass, when you are hit by an enemy in melee range, immediately roll a number of d6 equal to the amount of hit points you marked. For each result of 5+, deal a hit point back to the enemy. So I basically get to roll a d6, and if it's higher than if it's higher than 5, they take a hit point, I think. So I'm gonna try that. So I get to roll 1d6.
Okay.
And if it's higher than 5, I think you take... Yeah, roll a number of d6 equal to the amount of hit points you marked. For each result of 5+, deal a hit point. So yeah, let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Hey! You take 2 hit points as part of my subclass.
Okay, is it 2 or just 1? Sorry, was it not like?
So each result of 5+ deal a hit point back to the enemy. So I assume as a 6.
So,
that's 5 and 6, right?
No, it'll be
No.
a 5 on
No.
a 5+. You
Yeah.
reflect
Oh,
it back.
okay.
And is it just the 1d6? Yeah.
Yeah.
That you're
just
rolling.
1d6.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you spent the armor. So yeah, as this thing's basically swiped at you. Describe to me what happens. Like how did you bounce damage back?
I feel like as it swipes at me, I think Cal was already trying to get his sword out of his scabbard as the swipe happened. So as he's swiped, Cal comes up and uses the pommel of his sword to get the zombie, as it were, in the face and push him back.
Okay. In which case, yeah, it rocks back as you kind of smash it in the head. Part of its skull, like its skull cracks under the blow, and like horrifyingly, it seems to sort like pull. The skull seems to split in two, and then you watch as the muscles underneath seem to be like there's red sinewy muscle that's stretching as the skull splits in two, but you notice that it's like every so often there's almost like green strands that's running along, like in and amongst the muscle of this creature. And you watch as these kind of green tendrils seemingly almost like reach out to the part that's breaking away and pull it back into place as it staggers a few steps back. And then it kind of shakes its head. The small clumps of hair that's still on its head kind of flap around wetly. Yeah, that's it for its turn. So now we move on to Cal for his turn.
So Cal's actual turn is going to be to just hit it with my long sword.
Okay.
I basically roll my usual hope, right, and then add +3. Is that correct? I always forget how this works.
That's it. That's correct.
So yeah, cool. So I add +3 basically. So let's roll and +3. So that's a 20 with hope.
20 with hope. So if nothing else, you go up to 4 hope, and that is extremely a hit.
Amazing. That's good. So my damage is 2d8 +3, and then I believe, just to double check, something on here. Okay, cool. So I didn't activate this earlier. I probably should have done. I want to activate Unstoppable.
Okay.
Which is once per long rest, you can choose to become unstoppable. It says I gain resistance to physical damage, but that's fine. I've already just had the fight. That's fine. Increase your armor score by your proficiency. That's fine. At the current value of your unstoppable die, which will be 1 at this moment.
Yeah.
To your damage die in total. So okay, cool. So basically, whatever I roll, which is damage is 2d8 +3, is actually now +4.
Okay.
So from my unstoppable die, and then I think that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to save any of the rallying stuff for later. So yeah, my damage will be rolled now, which is 14.
14. Okay. Describe to me, like, as years of experience kick in and you deliver this body breaking blow with your sword. Like, describe to me what happens.
Sure. Well, I feel like he's obviously used the pommel originally to push the zombie back, flicked his sword back round, and almost like this man was a soldier for so long, it is almost on autopilot as he just kind of swings back around with his sword and just like carves into this kind of zombie side quite heavily and like brings the sword back. So not only does he swing in, he then pulls it back towards himself. So there's like quite a gaping wound.
Okay.
In this zombie side.
You know, as your sword bites deep into the flesh, and like the zombie is almost bisected at the waist, like, and the top half of it lurches sideways, like in response to your blow. Vanya, there's a part of you that's like, no, because it was clearly a killing blow. And then Cal, as you withdraw your sword, you look up for a moment and notice that this zombie that's kind of split in half, these green tendrils then sprout out of its lower half and seemingly grab the top half of its torso and pull it back into place. And what you would have suspected would have been major damage actually only seems to have been superficial at best. And the creature like looks to you as it pulls itself back, but the momentum of it kind of snapping to again, like seemingly regenerating, makes its head loll from looking at you, Cal, to looking at Alfric. And for a stress, it's going to reactivate and lunge at you, Alfric.
Okay.
It's going to, like, both of its arms come out, like reach out at you, and these claws, these quite kind of frightened looking claws arcing towards you. It's going to roll a d20 plus 1, and I roll a 20 to hit.
Oh, sorry, do I roll a...
No, is that... I'm expecting that's higher than your evasion.
Your evasion score.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, my evasion is 11.
In which case, like, its arms wrap around you as it comes in close, and quite worryingly, it appears to be attempting to... Well, it bites you for 11 damage.
Oof.
So, if you want to reduce that with any of your armor slots, you can. So you'll have a number of armor slots on your character sheet. Probably about six of them, maybe.
Yes, I believe so.
What's your armor score? What's
0.
the number on your arm? You 0.
Unless I feel like, am I wearing... currently on my character sheet it says 0 armor, armor slots.
Have you equipped
0 of 6.
any armor? So in your so if you look at your equipment, you'll be able to see all your gear within the equipment section, and there'll be some tick boxes.
Yes.
Well, some squares that you can select to equip that gear. So any like weapons or armor.
I
If you want to equip those,
like 2.
Yes. My apologies to stream.
Right.
This is my first time fighting anything in Daggerheart.
No, we're all here to help each other.
It's when I click it, it doesn't give me the option to put it on.
No, it just you click the square, and as long as it highlights it in a yellow, that's it. That your armor score should change to whatever that armor is. So it might be a 1, a 2, a 3.
Was it
it's
like
not
what?
giving me the option?
What armor type?
What armor
is
is it?
It's Gambison armor.
Gambison.
I think Gambison, like the lowest.
Yes, I am a bard.
Base score 3, I think. Base score
But
3.
it gives you plus 1 to evasion.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Which
Okay.
wouldn't have helped.
So, each armor slot that you expend, it will reduce this damage by 3, and then you compare it to your major and severe damage thresholds.
Yes.
So what are your thresholds, out of curiosity?
What's the numbers? it will say minor damage, then a square with a number, and then major damage, a square with the number, and severe damage. It will be just below evasion and armor, and then you.
Minor damage is 6. Major damage is 16.
Cool. Okay. So, so you're not going to be suffering like severe damage, so no need to worry about that. Fundamentally, so yeah, you can reduce this damage in chunks of 3, like 1 per armor slot, and that will come off this damage total. So obviously if you spend 1 armor slot, it will reduce the damage to 8. If you spend 2 armor slots, it will reduce it to 5, and so on. So you could spend 2 armor slots to reduce it low enough to then only take minor damage. And then,
so then that would reduce it to 1 minor slot. 1 armor slot.
1 hit point, correct.
Okay,
correct.
yes.
So we can expect that this zombie type creature's just got a mouthful of ruffle.
I'll do that. I'll spend those 2 armor slots.
So,
in which case, yeah, as you sort of like pull away, it grabs, it bites a mouthful of, like the claws have dug into you, and you can feel them sort of like piercing through your the fabric on your shoulders, but as the creature's teeth clamp down, it just kind of bites at your cravat, and like it unfurls and tightens slightly as you pull away. So you've taken 1 hit point worth of damage, as you've only reduced it down to minor. I'm going to stop being mean now. Who wants to go next?
Seeing Alfric just get chomped on, I think Vanya will just grab Alfric's shoulder and switch places. Pulling Alfric back behind me, and in that momentum pulling Alfric back, he will then the button clasp unclips, the overall cloak just flings back behind his shoulders, revealing his manly abs. As this rocket punch comes towards the creature with these stone gauntlets.
There's a moment when he poses and kisses a bicep. Yeah.
A magical wind machine turns on.
Yes. Alfric, you appear to have a bottle of baby oil in your hands.
Yeah. I've got you. As this stone primal gauntlet goes arcing towards this creature.
Okay.
There's a +3 to on the hit, so let's go. It is a 22, 23, so 25 with hope, and I'm gonna not take the hope, and I'm gonna add it to my player pool. So I'm still on 3 hope, and I am going to roll some damage. I'm not going to spend that Slayer token yet. Right, so it's 2d10 plus 3.
Ooh.
18 points of magical damage.
18 points.
As that rocket punch comes towards this creature's face to try and push its face into the bars behind it to smush it. Alfred, you will see from the gauntlets this flurry of wind and cold primal energy disperses from the gauntlet.
Very good. As you sort of like knock, as your fist connect, you were going for the head, right?
Yeah.
As this fist connects with its sort of like cheekbone, you feel the bone underneath kind of give way, and there's an unpleasant squelchiness to it, and there, like, you feel like there's nowhere near as much resistance as you were expecting, and it takes you a moment to register that you've punch this thing hard enough that the top half of its skull has detached. And like your fist is kind of carrying it along. And as that happens and you're sort of like arcing over it, its body, you see these kind of viney like tendrils reaching out from sort of like its jaw, as if it's reaching up to kind of grab the top of the skull and pull it back. But they don't do it quick enough to stop your fist then wedging the top half of the skull between your fist and the bars of the cage behind it. And with a splotch and a zits pops like splatter of brain and kind of goop, the top half of the skull is mulched against the side of the cage. And as
slightly frozen too.
Like as you finish the blow and you hear the dong as your hand hits the metal of the cage, the bottom half of the body then sort of like spasms for a moment and then collapses to the ground, and the green vine-like tentacles that are erupting out of its body just sort of like immediately go limp and then begin to sort of like shrivel and wither back into the creature's body. But you halving that 18 down to 9 is still enough for 1 point of damage, and the creature is slain.
With this, and the creature just slumps to the floor, just dying. I just kind of turn around, like slow-mo, and just like, you just aim for the head. Usually does the trick.
Alfric is in awe.
As Vanya says this to Alfric, Cal and Rayri, you look at this creature and you watch as it, like, the vine-like tentacles that were coming out of the bottom half of its head, and say they've started to like wither and shrivel, but the whole creature just seems to sort of like be desiccating in front of your eyes until it looks like nothing more than a withered husk. But yeah, the creature's no longer moving. It's abundantly clear in this moment that whatever those green kind of tendrils were, that wasn't normal. But yeah, I mean, I guess you're in an Archmage's mansion, so perhaps normal isn't to be expected all that much.
What is normal?
As that happens, you hear a voice from above you, Cal. Is everything okay down there? And you look up and see the paladin, who was kind of following behind you, peering down the trapdoor to you all in the basement. Who? Do you know who? Have you found who it was screaming? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Fio.
I'm here now. Sorry.
Hello.
I think Cal calls up like, it's being dealt with. The chef is with us.
As you say that, you look back to the corner where the chef was, and she is gone. As you take a step round to see where she is, because like between you and the other side of the room is a wall with like a dividing wall with a number of kind of pantry-like shelves attached to it. But you notice that there is another trapdoor at the other end of this basement room, and what appears to be a small like rope ladder is draped down from the trapdoor and kind of dangling across the floor. So it looks like in the furore of that sudden burst of excitement, the chef has managed to kind of escape out of the basement.
Do we know where that goes?
Not yet.
Can I open the trapdoor?
You can. Let me just rearrange the cat for maximum views. Daisy, you need to. You're too flat. You're too pancake.
Loaf.
There we go. Yeah, that's a money shot. Yes, you can absolutely have a little gander. If anyone else is looking, then yeah, by all means, let me know and I'll move in there.
I think just before I go across, I'll call up to the paladin to explain that we're trying to find the chef. We think she's gone a little bit further down.
Sure. I'll keep a lookout for her. The paladin responds, and then her shadow kind of disappears. And then shall I close the trap door?
No.
She's already halfway to like closing it, and then I'll leave it open, she says. And then leaves it be.
Thank you.
So as the four of you kind of follow up through the other trapdoor, let me just move you all over. Ooh.
Oh.
You emerge into what appears to be a laboratory. The laboratory lies somewhere in the mix of workshop, alchemical research facility and studio, with flasks, scrolls and tools on all matter of shelves and tables. There is a biting chemical smell in this room, but it's difficult to tell where it's coming from with how cluttered the room is. Open tomes and ongoing experiments are scattered throughout the room, but only about half of them are labelled. You notice as you enter in that the door... You're in this small kind of laboratory. There is a door at the other side of the room which is open. And like as you peer through the open door down the corridor, there's a green carpeted corridor. Into a room further down, you see the three figures of Agatha Bendel and Mayor Montgomery. They appear to be stood in what looks like a library. But otherwise, yeah, you seem to be in a laboratory of some sorts. What do you do?
I guess that the dog. I guess Vanier's not very good with paperwork. So I was like, someone might want to check the desk. Guess I'll scatter ahead. Talk to the people beyond. And yeah, I'll start walking my way out. As I'm walking, is there any signs of the chef, or like any doors that have been just closed, or partially open as I'm walking along?
There isn't. As you head into this sort of like green carpeted hallway, you find yourself at a T-junction with a long corridor running to your right. And this is a corridor of doors, you notice. With you stopped at the kind of the junction, you're right next to a wooden door. All the doors are frustratingly similar in appearance, but looking down the long corridor to your right, you see three sets of two doors kind of either side, heading down. You suspect, you have a fleeting suspicion that perhaps, given the number of doors in such close proximity to one another, this must be like the bedrooms of some sort, which means by your reckoning there are 7 bedrooms in this area. Immediately in front of you, through an open door, you see the 3 figures of Agatha, Bendel and Montgomery, and the 3 of them are kind of clustered together and they're talking. They're sort of like talking to one another quite intently. At the far end of the long corridor, you see another open door, which you spot the telltale sign of the white marble of the entrance. And as you try to figure out what's happening, you feel like you've emerged on the other side of the mansion. And perhaps that basement was like a bridge, but space seems somewhat relative. As you open, to double check, as you open the door immediately to your left, you see what looks to be a rather plain, a very clean and extremely plain bedroom.
Does anyone else want to do anything at this moment, as I've just walked off and entered this space?
Yeah, well, Alfric and Cal, you're still in the laboratory. Is there anything you're looking, investigating while you're here?
I think Alfred would be following along down this corridor.
Okay.
So, well, there we go. He's there.
Okay. So yeah, you following behind Vanya, and fundamentally everything I've just described you see as well. Cal, are you stopping to smell the roses, or?
I think Cal is going to see if he can read anything. His knowledge isn't he's not a knowledgeable man, but he may notice something in the papers that might be of use. So I think he's gonna just take a glance at some of these papers and see if they mean anything.
Sure. Which ability would you like to use?
Sorry. Late day. Right. I think I'm just gonna roll knowledge. It's a straight roll. It's just a +0.
Sure. Okay.
Let's go double check if there's anything else I can do. I don't think there is.
So I think if you're going knowledge, then perhaps it's you're trying to comprehend these kind of you're almost trying to comprehend the science of what is on the bits that you have in front of you. Yeah, go by all means.
Sure. Right. Okay. Let's see what happens if I roll. So that is a 17 with fear.
17 with fear. Okay. It's difficult to pass what's on all the laboratory is kind of all over the place. So as you pick up some of the books and some of the the scrolls and the research papers, you're trying to figure out the meaning behind them. But yeah, you find what appears to be a number of lab notes on various experiments. Get the push in shot. There she is. But there's one off the back of a 17, was it? Yeah. So off the back of a 17, there's one in particular that catches your eye. It's a set of lab notes that read: in the Grand Garden Temple of the Holoran jungles, recovered a dark crystal. Must have been valuable, as the druids were willing to sell their lives to protect it. Extensive research has been done on the crystal in an attempt to harvest its power. Unfortunately, nothing was able to be extracted before cracks began to form, and it was reduced to a trivial trophy.
Interesting.
And As you read that, you all of you, so the four of you hear a rather ominous boom, and you look at a nearby clock on a wall, Cal, and realise that another hour has passed. There are 4 hours left until midnight. As a complication of your fear.
Okay. I'm just gonna pick up that lab note and put it in a pocket,
Sure.
in case it's useful.
Is Ravy having a little snoop, or is she chasing after the others?
Can I look at the books? Is there books on the table?
Yes.
Can I have a little look at the bookies?
Yeah, I might ask for a knowledge roll.
Oh, I'm great at that.
Yeah, just to see if you understand what it is you're reading.
I know loads about magical books. See?
So 12
Well.
with hope, so that takes you up to 3 hope. Cool. So the books, as you kind of look across, you peer up and look across this tabletop, there appears to be a triplet of tomes that seem to be they're in a position where they're either more important or they're reached to more often. And it's a 3-tome set. The first one is named Exploring a New Power Source. It's a 3-tome set detailing the basic nature of primal artifacts, and as well as some preliminary and kind of almost reactionary research. The book itself looks, quite new. Primal energy, as you collectively know it, has only been around for the past kind of year and a half, ever since pretty much the end of the eschaton, the end of the war. But even so, as you peer through these books, you can see a lot of very kind of scribbly handwritten notes in the margins. And a lot of the notes are sort of either refuting some of the things that are being said, or sections are circled with "must explore further" written next to it, and so on and so forth. So you get the impression that the handwritten notes belonged to Ulick. But yeah, between that and what Cal has found, it would seem that Ulick has been doing a lot of research into primal energy.
Yeah. Okay.
So, flicking over to Vanier and Alfric. Yeah, you're still, if you're still kind of in chase mode, as say, you can see the 3 stood in the entryway to the library, Bendel, Agathar, and Montgomery. You have a look through looking through the door to your left into this bedroom, that appears to be empty. All the doors along this corridor are closed. The only open door is to the foyer that you first entered. So you suspect that if, unless the chef has slipped between these 3 and is in the library, you suspect that she might have headed back to the foyer.
Okay. And even though there's a bedroom that's open, is there any telling of anyone's belongings or anything inside that room?
You note that. Give me an instinct.
Yeah.
Give me an instinct roll.
Okay, +2. I'm not gonna add anything on this one. 10, 11, +2, 13 with hope.
13 with hope.
And I'm gonna add that to my Slayer die, so I don't take the extra hope.
Sure. So you stay on 3.
Yeah.
You, like, the room is so plain and tidy. Like, it's difficult to gauge whose it might be from the contents. And it's only when you look a little bit closer at the bed that it dawns on you that the bed is quite short and quite low to the ground. And there appears to be almost like a small... You know when you have, like, old dogs or cats in the house, so you get them the little steps to help them get on the sofa?
Mm.
Fundamentally one of those at the side of the bed. So in this moment, you kind of... It tweaks. This is probably Bendel's room.
Yeah. As these 3 are still sort of talking, and I realise that Alfred's following, I'll just quickly turn and say, I think this is Bendel's room. Do we look, or do we go talking to these 3 over here, or do we try and find the cook?
I was going to listen at the door.
Listen at these doors down the corridor, or do you mean listen to their conversation?
Their conversation.
I'm going to move out the way because I'm not very sneaky. So I sidestep.
Alfred is delighted that you think he is.
He doesn't know your skill set. He's like, you got to prove yourself. You've got this.
As Vanier steps aside, and kind of says like, "You got this," and giving you like a thumbs up. Alfred, you take one step forward, and the floor underfoot creaks loud enough that the 3 in the library turn to look at you, like all 3 heads turn in unison, and the Wolfkin mage like scrutinizes you for a moment, and then, "It will be unwise to sneak around. People might get a bit jumpy."
I wasn't sneaking. I was walking politely.
The mage like studies you for a moment, and then you see like this old wrinkly goblin head peer around the corner, and then you hear the goblin, oh no, and then he very slowly, very ominously walks towards you.
Can I quickly close the door on him?
Wait, are you talking about his bedroom door you're gonna close?
I was gonna, if he was already not through the door into the corridor, I was going to close the library door.
I mean, you can if you like. Yeah, if you're just like, oh, yeah, if that's what you'd like. As the goblin like peers around and he sort of like takes him a little while to sort of like nudge Agatha out the way, but yeah, if you want to very quickly scoot forward and close the door on him.
Terribly sorry.
Okay, so you scoot forward, and then Bendel sort of like looking up to you and, "Oh, someone's left my bedroom door." And you hear a slight thunk as the door hits this goblin in the forehead. And like, there's just this awkward moment of perfect silence. And then, "Did she just close the door on us?" "Yes, I think he did." Bloody hell. Yeah, Vanya, you've just seen an exemplary display of stealth and misdirection. Alfred, you back away. It's back to the intersection. And like the three of them just appear to be in the library now. Closed in the library.
We should possibly check the room.
You want to check Bendel's room?
Everyone's a suspect.
Sure. After you.
We'll go into.
Sure. Well, as you step into Bendel's room, and tell you what, roll me a. Let's call it a. I guess you're trying to perceive, right? So yeah, roll me an instinct.
I have +0 to instinct.
Okay.
That was 10 hope.
14. So you add the 4.
Oh yeah, so 14.
14 with hope.
With hope.
And sorry, but did you have a modifier to it? Sorry.
No.
No. Okay, 14 with hope. So the first thing that strikes you as you step into this room is that it smells like Old Goblin. And for anyone who's like watching or playing, I'll let you in your heads imagine what the stank of Old Goblin is like. Okay? Because arguably, whatever you can think of, whatever you can imagine, that's what Old Goblin smells like. But like, yeah, as you look around, and as I say, it's very simple. There's no personal belongings that you can see. The bed is neatly made. The little steps that's up to the bed, that's been kind of neatly placed. It's not kind of skew or anything. Like, everything is in perfect order in this room. And it is unbearably plain and like empty. There is nothing of note beyond the bed, the quilts, the pillows, the chest of drawers that you suspect has got Old Goblin underwear in it, like really big, like pants. You can almost picture there's a drawer of like identical purple butler suits. Like, this room is chef's kiss. Yeah, the walls are plain. There are no windows. The room is lit by a couple of candles that seem magical in nature. It's more eerie how plain this is.
Alfric is faintly disappointed.
Yeah.
This is his first time leading the investigation, and he's encountered this room.
Yes, this is the most uninteresting room you've ever witnessed in your life.
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Depending on what others are doing.
We'll tell you what. Let's quickly switch back. Cal, you are currently in the. Are you still in the laboratory, or are you chasing after?
I think at this point, once he's done the reading, I think he will follow after Ray.
Okay.
See what's happening.
Sure. In which case, yeah, you find Alfric stood in a very plain room. It strikes you almost as like militaristically tidy. Be a Ravy, what are you doing?
I see that Alfric has gone in Bendel's room, and she's just like, "Oh, we're doing great, brilliant!" And she just runs down the corridor. Any minute, I'm gonna go in this way, and she just opens up this door here.
Okay. You run down the corridor and loudly announce you're opening the second door on the left. And
Roommates.
in here is a bedroom that has the same colour carpet as the room at the end that Alfred stood in. But this one is somewhat smaller. Unlike the Bendel's room at the far end, this room is full of dirty dishes and dirty cups and dirty plates and dirty cutlery. Just some of them in sort of like washing tub basins, a lot of them just stacked up, like precariously balanced on top of pots, like cooking pots, and like the place is a state. There's a sort of a clear path from the door to the bed, but even on the bed there are plates and cups and bowls just kind of scattered around. You can see that some seemingly are the dirty crockery is kind of almost pushed to one side of the bed, so it seems like this rather generous looking double bed, only one half of it is used. The rest of it as well as the room is occupied by dirty kitchen utensils and crockery.
Oh. Someone hasn't done the washing up for a while then. Can I have a look? Maybe like under the bed, see if there's just like, let's have a look around.
Sure, yeah, give me an instinct, like an instinct perceive. Instinct perceive, or I suppose there's no like investigation really, is there? I suppose knowledge perhaps, but yeah, more likely instinct.
Shit. I mean, that was terrible. 6, 7.
Okay.
With fear.
The room is so cluttered. Like you lift up a couple of plates, like you look under the bed, and it's like you realise that there are pots, like big cooking pots, that have just been like rammed under the bed. And like as you pull out one, and then you immediately recoil because it looks almost floral with how mouldy it is. And you kind of look around, and there's one, and like the whatever liquid is in that bowl has kind of started to congeal into this kind of brown slurry, and you just yeah. Unfortunately, you don't find anything, and I'll take the fear.
It's like she's looking round. She's spending more time trying to stop Vinny from licking any of the mouldy pots. She opens a pot, and she's like, no, and just like grabs his head, trying to like remove him from trying to like eat a load of mouldy meat. And she's like, no.
I'll tell you what, I won't take the fear. I'm not going to take the fear. What I am going to do is that Vanier, from behind you, and sort of like to your, like if you're I presume you're watching Rayri, so like behind you and to the left, you hear a door open, and you realise the door to the library has been opened, and you hear the voices of Agatha, Bendel, and Mayor Montgomery as they re-emerge. And Rayri and Cal, you can hear from down the way the voice of Agatha say, "What are you doing in Bendel's room?" As Alfric, you are caught red-handed by the trio.
Red-clawed.
Red-clawed, yes. Vanier seems to have been caught up in this as well. Cal, what are you doing? You've probably got a few seconds before they might notice you.
Can I literally just grab Rayri really quickly and just pull her out of the chef's room? So that she does, and then close the door, so it's like we haven't been in there. So like we've not like.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So
you're grabbing me, I'm grabbing Vinny, and we're all just
yeah, makes sense.
Okay. So yeah, there's a chain reaction of people grabbing people, people grabbing others, and like as you close the door, Cal, you see Agathar kind of arrive at the T junction, and it's a bit rude to be barging around in people's bedrooms without permission, isn't it? And as he says that, Bendel steps forward and it's okay. Anything that will help find Master Alric's Ulix killer. But I can tell you, son, that there's nothing of interest in there.
I just, ticking people off the list, as you do. In that case, I suppose we wouldn't find anything if we were to just do a quick look around.
Bendel shrugs, given that you're already in his room.
Just standing in the doorway.
Agathar looks a bit kind of put out. Like, you see him kind of sneer a little bit. And then he... By all means, he says. And he points at the door to Vanier's left. So, this one here.
As I see him make that gesture, it's like, well, before we continue our search, is there anything that you found on your end that might be beneficial to this investigation?
The three of them sort of like look to one another, and Mayor Montgomery is the one that pipes up and says, "We have a couple of working theories, but we're keeping our cards somewhat close to our chest until we've found some more evidence. We wouldn't want to tip off the guilty party as to what it is we're looking into."
With that reaction, do I get the sense that they are being guarded because they don't trust us and they're trying to do their own investigation properly, or are they being, or do I get a sense they're being like guarded because they have ulterior motives and they're being shifty?
Roll me a...
Because it's almost like if I get a sense that they are genuinely trying to investigate like we are, it's less likely they are the ones who have committed the murder.
Okay, roll me an instinct.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to use my heightened senses again.
Okay.
For this, I'm going to spend that hope, just because
Down to
I'm not.
two?
I really want to get a sense of these guys, and really be clear on my opinion of them. So I've taken away hope, and so that gives me +2, +2, so that's a +4 total for this roll. That was just my roll just now, wasn't it? So 11, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 with fear.
22 with fear. The mayor strikes you as the speed and the speed with which she answered your question and the sort of like the snippishness of it. You get this immediate impression that he responded quite impatiently. But it's a different sort of impatience to that of, say, the paladin, like the keeper paladin in the main room, who it was abundantly clear they, she was impatient to find the culprit. You can't quite put your finger on it, but yeah, the mayor, like the way the mayor kind of snaps at you almost, and then sort of like looks up to the other two and then looks back to you, like it seems like you're stopping them from doing something.
So yeah, but stopping them from doing something that might not necessarily be this investigation.
Yeah. Actually, off the back of a 22, you then spot him. Like his eyes, like he hasn't got, he's a sprite, so they don't have pupils, but you can still get a gauge for sort of like what direction they're looking in because of the sort of like the light in their eyes. And for the briefest of moments, you see him sort of like glance sideways back into the library, and then his head snaps back to you, as if he's like caught himself wandering and then brought his attention back.
Okay, so like he's looking back at the I caught his glance almost like nervously looking back at the library for whatever reason.
And
the judging. Oh, yeah,
well, so you catch that, and off the back of the fear, you then hear from the foyer behind you this resonant booming voice. Is everything okay down there? And Cal, you turn to see Stradivon stood at the end of the corridor to this kind of bedroom area. Like he's an imposing figure. He fills the whole door frame with his kind of stony features. But as he kind of says that and is looking at all of these people gathered in this corridor, Agathar says, "Yes, we're absolutely fine. In fact, we were just hoping to have a quick word with you, Stradivon." And before you get a chance, any of you get a chance to kind of protest, Agathar and Mayor Montgomery kind of push past you down the hall and kind of heads towards the foyer, and Bendel, who's just kind of like stood in the middle of it all, just, "Excuse me, I'll just be following them." And then he slowly,
that is fine,
potters his way between you, and he stops when he gets to you, Rayri, and "Good dog," he says, kind of patting Rayri very decrepitly on the head. They're just like forehead smacks, and then he kind of dawdles on after, and yeah, you see the three of them the three of them convene with the statue, and then as they kind of walk out of sight, you hear Stradivon's voice echo out, "How can I help you?" And as they go, Montgomery is kind of waiting for Bendel to pass through, and when Bendel steps through, Mayor Montgomery kind of looks down the corridor, like back down the corridor towards the four of you, and then closes the door.
With that, now that the door is closed, Vanya or me just say that Mayor Montgomery seemed a bit nervous, shifty even. Something about that library, I think we need to go check.
What's Alfric thinking?
I mean, Alfric knows Mayor Montgomery. Right now, he doesn't know him exceptionally well, but he knows him quite well. Through his father. Is sort of anxiety and shiftiness inherent in this man? Or is this a new behaviour for him?
So, yeah, as a citizen of as a citizen of Seldavon.
Seldavon, yeah.
Mayor Montgomery is relatively new to the role. Like, he hasn't been mayor of Seldavon all that long. He took over from the previous mayor, Archibald, after, like, yeah, there was a whole scandal because, like, Archibald got it was found out that there was like tax fraud and corruption, and yeah, it was a very scandalous reveal, and Mayor Archibald, ex-Mayor Archibald, was he was fundamentally like tarred and feathered and run out of town. Like, it was a very public shooing, and Mayor Montgomery has kind of stepped in his place. And you know that, like, one of the reasons why Montgomery got the job is because he is known for his sort of like by the book nature. So, especially in the aftermath of a tax corruption style fiasco, someone who would dot the I's and cross the T's was perfect. And yeah, Mayor Montgomery is a bit of a stickler for crossing T's and dotting I's. Was it unusual behaviour to see from him? Perhaps not. But yeah, he's not usually one for sort of like whispers.
I think Alfric will nod. Say, I think we should look. See what they were doing.
Callum Ravery, are you retiring to the library along with the others?
I think Ravery will love to look in another room. It's all very exciting.
Sure. Well, anyone who wants to go to the library, feel free to move your tokens over there.
I seem to have a ghost token.
Do you now? That's because you're dead. You've been dead all along.
That mold in that room, I just smelt it and just died. Okay.
You'll be happy to know everyone. Beef in the chat has a new theory, but have the four of you got any new theories? Or hunches or suspicions?
I feel it was... I still don't trust the butler. I also have my suspicions about the paladin.
Oh, interesting.
She's too helpful.
So, as the four of you enter into the library, a musty smell pervades this room, where every wall is lined floor to ceiling with bookshelves that are stuffed with all manner of research tomes, historical accounts, diaries, loose notes. There are additional rows of stacks containing newer books, including a particularly large collection of books all authored by Ulick on the nature of planar travel, as well as personal notes, recounts, receipts of trade, contracts, and dissertations. Where would you like to start?
Is there a sign anywhere that any books have sort of been recently taken out? Like, are there any books anywhere that the group before us might have been looking at?
Give me a...
Can I use an experience of well-read?
You can.
I know my way around the library.
You absolutely can. So that will cost you one of your 5 hope. But then that will give you an extra +2 in this roll. Yeah, absolutely. Well read. You're in your element in this library.
Yes.
I'm going to say dealer's choice of instinct or knowledge. whether you're sort of
I'll
like
do
perceiving
knowledge.
something or analysing the room that you're seeing.
I'll roll on knowledge because my
Okay.
instinct is terrible.
Sure. See.
That is a 1-1.
Okay. It's the worst kind of crit.
But it's still
But it's still a crit. So, when you roll a double on the duality dice, it is a crit. So, you immediately go back up to 5 hope because you, whilst having only rolled like a 5 or something, like you've actually aced it. You immediately notice that there is a rather hefty looking book. Like you glance around this room, and the first thing that kind of takes your breath away is just like how well maintained this library is. Like we're not entirely sure if the Elsewhere setting has a Dewey system, but if it does, it originated here. Like everything is catalogued beautifully, everything is pristinely kept in place.
Man after my own heart.
Exactly. Which is immediately then how you are able to notice that there is one rather large book upside down and not fully in on the shelf, like it's been hastily put back.
I'll go now.
And as you pull that out, because you also notice it's completely out of place in terms of the other books around it, and sort of like you can see some scrolls that have been scrunched up behind it as you pull this book out. The tome, interestingly, is locked. It's got a lock on the front, but it simply says in gold writing on the front, Ledger. Are any of you good with lock picking? I mean, the lock itself looks rather delicate. So, I mean, you could lockpick. If anyone's able to lockpick, feel free.
I think I could probably. My tinkering is pretty decent.
Okay. I mean, in which case, yeah, if you want to unlock it, by all means, give me finesse.
Fab. So, seeing that it's a locked book, I think Rayri just to Alfric.
Gimme.
Just
he hands it down.
oh. And she looks at it and a 14. Kind of just like, and then just gets like a little hairpin out of a bun. Made of some kind of adamantium so it doesn't melt in her lava hair, and just start just.
Okay. So presumably the other three of you watch as Rayri hands this book to Vinny, who just holds it in his mouth.
Yeah, just holds it open
like a vice, and then you, with a satisfying click, the clasp on the front of the book pops up, and you're able to open it without kind of damaging or destroying the lock.
Nice. That was with hope, by the way.
With hope, yes, it was. So you go up to 4.
It's just opens it, hoping to find another beautiful ring.
Inside, you find no ring. Instead, you find a extremely comprehensive record of finances. In and out. And, perhaps there's a part of you that rolls your eyes, but anyone else who's looking at it, you realise that this is a ledger of all of the archmage. It's the financial Bible kind of thing. It's the home of the archmage's finances. But as you look through them, you notice that towards the end, like where the pages stop being filled out, the Archmage is actually in a lot of debt. Like, significantly so. And you notice that the most significant debts owed by the Archmage are to the town of Seldavon. Mostly in unpaid taxes and for, like, IOUs for material components for a slew of recent experiments and research.
Yeah, so like Rory's just kind of flicking through these pages. She's going, oh, debts, more, oh, lots of debts. And just kind of like flaps the paperwork at everyone else and said, oh no, that was quite a lot of money. Maybe that mayor is a bit pissed off with him.
Yeah, we're talking...
He hasn't paid taxes for, well, a long time.
Like, Cal, you take one glance at it and it's more money than you could imagine earning in an extremely long time, even with like a relatively successful military career of sorts. Like, it's a lot of money that this Archmage owes to the local town. Alfred, and you see like this there. Like, you know that Montgomery's been chasing taxes, and it looks like, you know, the mayor was one of the main culprits for the black hole in the financial ledgers. So, as you find this, who's doing what else? Are there any other investigations? Actually, you rolled a crit, didn't you? Alongside the, like, we're on the shelf that now has a hole in it where this ledger was stuffed. Alfred, you also notice that there are a number of what appear to be handwritten diaries. That, out of curiosity, given that, you know, you're in your safe space right here, like you find yourself just sort of like picking up and having a look through, and like glancing through the handwritten tomes, like they read like fantasy stories based on Ulick's adventures. As he kind of details his various kind of exploits and expeditions, both before and after the, well, primarily before the war, to be fair, but yeah, one of it, like, you flick to one part and it speaks of an underwater city. You flick to another, it speaks of a temple that he attacked and looted. You flicked to another, to a derelict haunted mansion, haunted castle that he explored. But like, as you glance at the final kind of entries, he see, like, post War of Heavens, it would seem that in his kind of isolation since the war, he's become a lot more introspective. He expresses a rare bit of remorse for his attack on that temple, especially as he couldn't end up harvesting the power like he wanted to. Yeah. Is there anything that any of you are doing in the library?
So, let me get this straight. Let's say this mayor is a suspect because of this ledger, right? But no matter, is he really going to kill an archmage over this book? I mean, also, do you think, how tall is the archmage compared to little sprite? Like,
What are you saying? You said I could beat someone up? You said I could murder someone?
You, yes. Him, no.
I mean, did you see where he was stabbed? Was it
around the torso
asking,
area?
but-
Yeah,
I
a
just
short enough sprite.
You would need a stepladder to get that high up in shank.
Oh, maybe he's got a twin. Maybe there's two of them and they're
I-
on shoulders.
I just think it seems a bit dubious of, like, from my perspective, this thing we have on Gwendolyn is a bit more tactile. You know, he's like, oh, Gwendolyn, I missed you. And she's like, oh, yes, I missed you too. Oh, oops.
Nah, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all, Vanya.
Makes lots of sense.
I agree.
You agree what? It doesn't make sense or it does make sense?
They were in love. I don't think she would have killed him.
Yeah, but you'll see that he was apologizing, and on the back of that note, she was like, well, stuff you.
Yeah, she gave back the ring. She wasn't like, I'm gonna give back the ring and then I'm gonna do a murder.
Maybe what he did to her she didn't want to give him forgiveness, and instead she wanted revenge for whatever he did.
Right.
Everyone,
Okay.
roll me. In fact, no, we won't have to roll. It's a bit pointless. As the four of you are speculating in the library, everything in the room suddenly jumps as there is a loud bang somewhere in the mansion. And like the floor shakes, the wall shakes, like dust billows out of some of the bookshelves and then begins floating down on top of you. But yeah, there's been a bang somewhere in the mansion.
I guess we better go and see what that was.
Yes.
And I just start bolting it towards the center area.
Sure. As you leave the library, you notice that the laboratory in front of you seems okay. The doors along the corridor to the bedrooms all appear to be closed.
Ray, keep an eye on that book, by the way. Might be useful.
She's put it into Vinny's side satchel. Oh.
I'm picturing it bigger than Vinny. Like, he's like...
As you kind of arrive in the foyer, you see, like, you hear the sounds of Stradivon. Like Stradivon kind of standing in the doorway to the dining room, stood alongside Valana, and Valana sort of like looks at you and, what in the heavens was that? She says, and the four of you, as you glance around, you notice that the door to the Archmage's bedroom is open. And there appears to be some greenish, blackish smoke seeping out from the top of the doorframe.
Is it coming from the bedroom? I guess so. We start coming over to go have a look.
Okay. Gonna go have a look.
Cal,
be careful.
As you step into the room, an eerie quiet hangs. As you maneuver over the bloody rug, you can see in the corner there are two bodies lying on the floor, surrounded by dark green scorch marks. You see the forms of Mayor Montgomery with his head against a marble, against the corner of, with his head like he's laid crumpled by the desk, and the bust of the Archmage lying nearby with blood streaked across its side, where it would seem that the bust has been knocked from the table on top of the Terran sprite's head. And Bendel is lying in a mound of curtains against the far wall. Agathar is nowhere to be seen. But between the two bodies, on the far wall, like on the wall opposite Bendel, there is a scorch mark along the floor and the walls. And the portrait of the young Lady Gwendolen is in a broken frame on the ground, and embedded in the wall behind it is a safe.
We didn't look behind that picture, did we?
What do you do?
Is the safe open?
It is not.
So just to clarify, does it look like Bendel has been near the safe?
Looking at it, given that he's got scorch marks on him, it would seem that something has exploded, centered on this safe, and has thrown the goblin across the room. But he's sort of like, he had enough clear air that when he hit carpet and then slid, and he's crumpled in a pile against the opposite wall.
So,
but Mayor Montgomery, from his positioning, it's clear that the explosion has launched him back into the desk, which has caused the bust to tip down and land on his head. And there is a growing pool of blood emerging from Mayor Montgomery's skull.
We quickly go check the bodies to make sure that whether they're able to be stabilized or not.
Okay.
Or if they're dead.
Who's checking who?
I'll go to the goblin, I suppose, or...
I'll check the mayor.
Okay. Alfric, as you rush over to Mayor Montgomery, like, it's a gruesome sight to see the small form of this Terran sprite lying next to, like, this large marble bust, which is almost as large as his torso. And sort of like the nose and eyebrow ridge is stained with the sprite's blood, where it's clearly impacted. And it only takes you a few moments to verify that the sprite is dead. Vanier, as you rush over to Bendel, as you turn him over, he is still and limp. Chuck me an instinct, I reckon.
Okay. Yeah, let's do this. Bow! And, what's my plus? A 10. So 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 with hope.
10 with hope.
And I will take that hope.
Okay. As you turn the elderly goblin over and sort of like scoop him up slightly, you place your ear close to his mouth and you feel an ever so faint breath against your ear and cheek. And whilst the goblin's face is scorched, it seems that whilst gravely injured, Bendel is still alive.
Is he trying to say anything in that moment?
He appears to be absolutely sparked out. He is
so
currently unconscious. By the divines, what's happened in here? Says the paladin as she steps into the doorway.
He's still alive. Can you help him?
Bring him to the parlour. We'll do what we can, she says. And as she takes a step back, and Vanier, you carry Bendel out of the room, Alfric, you are left kneeling alongside the corpse of the mayor of your town. And Cal and Rayri, your eyes are fixed on the blast marks emitting from this safe. And with that, we'll call it there. So, that is that for another session. The plot thickens. I can see from the chat that we have dashed Nate's theories. And you're absolutely right, Nate. I never kill my favourites.
Yeah.
I seemingly only horribly maim them. But yes, the plot thickens. There is a part of me that would be really interested to hear what your new theories are, given that, yeah, there's been another death. Dum dum dum. So yeah, the questions on everyone's mind: will Bendel be okay? What caused the explosion? Where is Agathar? Where is the chef? What's happening? You'll have to tune in to the next episode to find out, won't you? See, that's how it works. That's how it works. Where's my... Here it is. So, thank you, everyone, for playing. I hope you enjoyed. I hope your brains are wonderfully ticking over. And I'm heartily looking forward to any speculations that you have over the next fortnight until we next play. Thank you all for watching. Hit the like button if you liked it, which, I mean... Come on, even if you didn't like it, hit the like button anyway. And comment down below on your theories after this little plot revelation. Let's get my words out. And to see the conclusion to this mystery, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications when we release new uploads, because they're happening super frequently. We're going to be back in a fortnight's time. And yeah, I'm just really excited for this. Can you tell? I'm a bit sleepy. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing. We'll see you next time.